All right, as we can see right there at mile 9, Chris Lieto's hitting the asphalt coming off the dusty path. You're right behind him. Walk us through what's going on there right now, going in second place right behind Chris Lieto.
Well, I knew we were going to catch him. We'd been running a lot of time out of him, and I was more concerned of what was going on behind me. At that point, Chris was right in front of me, and one of the guys on the side of the road said, "You've got about 100 yards on Lanos," who I know very, very well. And I thought, oh, here we go. So it's a downhill to the 10-mile mark turnaround, so I thought, let's wait for this guy, let's relax, and let's see how he feels, see how he looks.
So you moved into first place, past Chris Lieto, and then you waited for Lanos to come at you, and here he is. Walk us through that.
He got up onto me, and we sort of felt him out a little bit. We did a few surges, and he looked pretty sprightly. I'd passed him earlier in the run, and I knew he was struggling on the climbs a little bit. He pushed the bike very, very hard today, and I thought, okay, I know this finish. It's a 1 mile downhill finish. Downhill running's difficult if you've got sore legs, so I'm just going to I've got to try and get him in a position in front of me. He was keen to run off my shoulder or next to me, so I really wanted to put him in front of me. So I made a little bit of a surge, I think, coming up here, and hoping he would counter that, which he did, and that put him in front of me, and I was able to sit off the back of him, which was exactly where I wanted to be. Here's the surge I do now, just a bit of a test, and then I sort of pull to the right over the road, hoping that he'd counter that surge, thinking this was a move I was going to make for the run for home. When it wasn't, I was totally prepared to wait for the downhill. That was the plan, to try and run away from him. So I pull to the right a little bit, and he counters the surge and goes past me, which is exactly where I wanted him to be.
Traditionally at this distance, we haven't seen too many shoulder-to-shoulder running at mile 12 like we're looking at the footage. This is almost like back in 1989 with Alan and Scott. Going back and forth like this, you were, with your experience, ready to just hammer on the downhill?
Yeah, well, it's the key of downhill running is to get that surprise, because once you're in full flight, it's very, very difficult to get the legs turning. So I knew if I was behind him, I could see what he's doing at all times, and if I wanted to make a move, I'd get that element of surprise. So we're cresting the hill. I thought, this is perfect. He's going to have to try and drop me here, and I was feeling quite good. And I said, once we get to that downhill, I'm ready to. I've got the ball's in my court. I'm the person who can dictate the run at home, and I wanted him to wonder what I was doing, and he's got no idea what I'm doing now. I'm sitting off him, right behind him, so he can't see my shadow or anything, and I just want him to wonder what was happening back there. So it was he did exactly what I wanted to do, which was great. I was very, very happy about that, and he's a very, very, very good athlete. It's good to see him in America. I've known Nico since my World Cup days. Him and his brother are very, very strong. They're stellar runners. They're good when it's hot. They're going to be big contenders in Kona over the next few years, and he's a very, very strong runner, but I knew he doesn't have, he's not a fast runner. He's just a strong, strong guy, and that's why I was content on waiting for this downhill.
Being this was his first time at Wildflower, did you think that his inexperience might have him blow up or maybe pull ahead too fast? What were you thinking there?
I was thinking we're close to the finish line now. Anyone can guts it home from here, but I didn't know how much he knew about this downhill finish, and I kept telling myself he'd have to be worried about me. If I was in his shoes, I'm the guy who's run the quickest times, and he's worrying about me, and this is approaching the downhill now.
Yeah, this is where we really see Macca pull away from the Spaniard. Tell us about what's going on here, your commitment on the downhill.
Well, it's a mile from the top to the bottom, and I was like, that's a long way, and I thought to myself, once I make my move, that's my move. If he comes back at me, then he's going to get me. This is, once you make a move, be committed. And I said, forget your toes, forget your knees, forget your hips.
This is what you were thinking right here.
Right here. This is for the win. Just let the legs go as much as you can, and once you go, just go. And I made the move past him. I was like, okay. I saw him out of the corner of my eye start to drop off, and I went, this is it. Open up, forget technique, forget everything. Just let the big body roll down the hill.
With your 2 decades of multi-sport racing, is there any other race course that has such a tremendous downhill in the last mile?
No, this is the toughest. It's funny, downhill finishes are tough in a half Ironman because the legs are sore, and your feet are fatigued, and your foot slides a lot from the sweat and the water in your shoes. So it really works off your toes, and it's
right
tough.
Now, look at you. You're just putting the hammer down. You're in the red zone. You're in 5th gear.
I'm just sitting there thinking, oh man, I hope he's not coming up on me. I don't know where he is. I'm committed to the finish now. This is the move. If he came up on me here, I didn't have much left. I was at full pelt. And I was wondering where he was. I think I asked one of the people coming down the road, how far back is he? And they said about 6 seconds. I was like, oh, just keep committed. And I knew it was flat at the end, and it's very, very difficult. People who run downhill, when you've got the leg turnover like that, when you hit the flat section, you can tend to bog a little. Yeah, you bog a little bit. So I was like, okay, prepare yourself for the flat section and pump the arms. And you still got a sprint in you, even though you're an Ironman guy now. Just believe you can sprint. So this was my run for home. I've won this. I've never lost here, and I came here determined to keep that winning record intact. It's a beautiful event. As I said, it's my favourite race in the half Ironman distance around the world, and it's just, I was like, man, you've won here. You know what you do. Let's get the 4th title.
And now we can see from the video, there's definitely at least 100 yards in between the two, and yet you still didn't know where he was.
I had no idea. I had no idea where he was. I think that's Chucky V right there. He said, yeah, Macca, you got about 12 seconds and he's going back. I was like, oh, you beauty. But, I didn't know whether he was going to hit the flat section. I was going to bog down a bit, and he was going to have a run at me on the... Because you still got about a quarter mile from the flat section to the finish. And I had no idea how far back he was. So I just said, concentrate on getting to this flat section, keep the arms pumping, and then I had a glance over when I sort of came into the thing, and I knew I had it won. Then I was like, oh, you beauty.
Beautiful. It is a long downhill, and now you're hitting that point where the leg turnover stops just because the descent, the angle is not as dramatic, and you're hitting those flats where the legs can really feel what you've just done on the downhill.
It's really nice too. You come around the corner and the music's playing. You guys are yelling out on the microphone, and it's home. You're like, okay, there's 300 meters to go. Let's get the job done. Into that. Once you get into that stadium, I guess that finish shoot, it's difficult to catch you. So I was just pumping the arms as much as I could. So get to that Gatorade bottle and swing around and look over your shoulder then. And
is that when you look back?
You have a glance just as I come around the corner here, and knew I had it. So I was able to celebrate a little bit down the finish shoot and enjoy my 4th win at Wildflower.
Well, great. Chris McCormack, thank you so much for spending the time with us, walking us through your experience in the last few miles of today's 26th annual Avia Wildflower Triathlon. Great job, buddy.
Macca McCormack, our 2008 Avia Wildflower champion, bringing it like only he can. Macca, welcome back, Macca. Yeah.